Your eyes are clouded beneath a canopy, your limbs lie in linen, in your mouth one last breath. Recall the colors of your days. Are you satisfied with the path you have tread? Make peace with your person, and resigned to dying, find yourself rebirthed instead. The sixth night leads me to the bedroom, painted with scenes of the self in her several stages, the same four walls redecorated and redecorated. For one lifetime witnesses many lives, many bodies worn and shed, personalities developed and discarded, many births and many deaths. Just as Jerusalem's temple was lost and won and lost again, so too are we forever falling and redefining, losing and refinding, a new beginning born with every end. Nightly I lay my soul to rest here. My breath slows, the world recedes, I experience the end of all, only to dream and be reborn, burdenless in the morning. The bed so soft cocoon, a womb, a tomb, a room of rejuvenation. These are the four walls of rebirthing, where the bed of birth becomes the bed of death, the drive to end yet begin again. The six flames lift from the ash like a phoenix, reviving life in her circular stride. Though history may be a looping spiral, redemption lies at the end of the line.
Hi there, I'm Scott, and this is GreatScott Knitting Vlognukkah 2021, night 6. And this is really night 6. As you can see, I'm really actually wearing the same clothing I was for night 5, but night 5 was recorded like about an hour ago. Welcome. So if you have been following along with the whole Vlognukkah series, you know I have been knitting on the Orbit shawl by Janina Kallio. It is a paid-for pattern, but it is a lovely DK weight shawl that is very simple, and I have dyed up 3 colorways. Spock is wearing Hold the Vision. I am wearing Torch. I cannot think of the Hebrew name, and I feel really bad about that. And then this other shawl, which is Repair the World, Tikkun Olam. So those have been my knitting focus. I am on the way back from Kansas City today. I cast on another Orbit shawl with a skein of my new colorway, which is called Beloved. And let me show you one of those skeins. This is the Beloved fingering weight skein version. Some lovely blues and black and gray and purple, all lovely together. And I believe I mentioned some time ago at some earlier point that the inspiration of this colorway is the Halloween movie Corpse Bride. So still, I love the color. It knits up so very nicely. A definitely non-repeating colorway. So there's no major pooling or anything like that happening. But so yeah. So I have cast on yet one more of these. This one is just a random unassigned shawl. So it eventually will have a home on somebody's lovely neck. So I do still need to skein or to cake up this skein of Oops yarn, which I think is really lovely. It's got some really interesting tones to it. It was the first version of this that went terribly awry, but it's got some interesting color that happens in it. And so it became somewhat greenish. So I over-dyed it with more purple to give it that just a deeper, darker, moodier tone. So there's some flashes of green, probably still a little bit of orangeness happening in there, as well as these deep purple shades. Almost black, almost gray. In person, it's much deeper than what you get on camera. But yeah, I'm looking forward to playing with that on a cowl. I believe the cowl that I'm going to be knitting with that is one of, let me see if I can find it. It may take me a second. It is from Tin Can Knits. And I would love to know the name of that cowl before I go crazy. I'm sure I favorited it in my One Skein Wonder bundle. And I will be able to say, oh, there it is. Simple Yet Effective by Tin Can Knits. Let me see if I can share this over with you all. Yeah, there it is. So that's the cowl I am thinking of knitting up in that skein of DK weight yarn. Yes, and it does kind of look similar to the example there, but I think it will look very, very interesting and cool with that pattern. So that is the plan for that skein. That is, and so I still have one of these going on so that I have some random gifts. And the reason I often have to have random gifts is my husband, Randall, works with a lot of different people that he likes to give gifts to at the holidays. And so I have to usually have some random shawls, scarves, cowls, hats available for him to gift away, which I'm more than happy to do. I love knitting shawls. I just don't wear as many as I love knitting. So being able to, send those out into the world is a joy. Okay. Speaking of a joy, on the way back from Kansas City, of course, one of my favorite places to go in Kansas City is Yarn Social. I'll link to them down below. They are one of my favorite little local yarn stores in the Kansas City area. I was not able to get to them this time due to time crunch, but as a consolation prize, my husband said that we could, on the way back, go through Lawrence, Kansas, and stop off at the Yarn Barn of Kansas. So Yarn Barn of Kansas was my quick stop destination. And while there, my husband was like, I need a new scarf for when I am volunteering at the Christmas lights at Botanica. And he picked out first this gorgeous yarn. This is a 100% superwash wool from Cascade. So this is a Cascade 220 superwash in that lovely color of green. Very foresty, very Christmassy green. And with that, he picked out this lovely Christmassy red. And so he wants a scarf that has these two lovely colors in it, which I think will look quite nicely. I mean, of course, they're super high contrast due to the red and the green. Although they're in the sort of same tone, the same intensity family. I think he has a scarf that he really likes that has two different colors in it. So I'm thinking of repeating that scarf in this Cascade 220 Superwash in the gorgeous green and the gorgeous red. Very, very Christmassy colors in my book for a Jewish family. But be that as it may. That is, so he picked out those colors. I will knit the scarf, which I'm not entirely sure. Let me see if I can find it in my projects. It is from a while back. So it may take me just a second to scroll back in the myriad of history of scarves to find it. There it is. And let me share that scarf with you. So that's the scarf that he enjoys wearing. Is just some basic striping going on. And the name of the pattern is just simply the Seated Rib Easy Reversible Scarf from Smariak Knits. Normally done solid. But the way I did that pattern, you could see how it instead of just doing basic striping, it kind of does this boxy effect, which is just so cool. I think it looks really neat. So it's sort of this mottled effect on one side and then some basic stripe on the other. But really enjoy how that particular project turned out. So I'm going to do another one in the red and green. So that should be fun. And let's go ahead and turn that off. All right. While there, of course, I had to pick up some other things just for me. So yeah, there it is. So I picked up, I have become sort of, I guess, enamored with some of the Cascade yarns, mainly because their price point is so good. So the first skein that was talking to me from, of course, Heritage Yarns is a 75% superwash merino wool, 25% nylon, was this lovely silvery gray skein. And with that, I am going to pair that up with this lovely sort of deep teal from that in that same line of wool. And so you can see how those look and play with each other. Gorgeous colors, very greeny, a very deep greenish tealish blue. It's really playing very much more blue. Maybe if I pop it next to the green. Nope, it looks very blue there. Still looks very blue. It's much more green, greenish, very teal in person. But those will pair lovely together in some project, some point in the future, not sure what. And then I have to say, though, I do enjoy, I do like what the Yarn Barn has to offer. They do actually offer a lot for weavers and spinners. And they do have a lovely selection of yarn, just not a lot of indie dyers. Most of it is your main box, like Cascade, Rowan, Barocco, and of course then my one of my favorite folks out there dying out there is of course Malabrigo. And So there wasn't a lot of like fingering weight, indie dyer options to choose from, or at least not that I saw. So they weren't being featured if they were there. So I went to my tried and true Malabrigo folk, and for some reason I was really taken by this gingy color. It's a very taupish neutral that I really like. It's just sort of a tonal neutral, which is just really pretty. And then I was also taken by Dewberry, which is this deep tonal purple skein. By the way, these are all on the sock base from Malabrigo. And then the final one, Candome, which is, again, sort of a deep color, but very has some greens and purples and blues, some different, lovely different shades. And I'm kind of thinking these three may get to play with each other in a project at some point. I really like how these three played with each other. There's some taupes in this one that are playing off here, and then there's the purples in from this to from this to this. So I think those will probably marry up at some point in a project. And so those that was my little yarn haul from the Yarn Barn. So a lot of yarn has been coming into my stash during this holiday season. So it means that there's going to be a lot of knitting that's going to be happening as we get into the new year. And it's crazy to be thinking new year already. 2022 is breathing down our necks. We are in to December. Just crazy. Hanukkah gifts came in today from my absolutely wonderful husband. He gifted me with the small set of 5-inch ChowGoo interchangeables. And so, yes, here are my new babies, with some, of course, the cords that go with it. Yay, the new babies. Always love me some. I got a ChowGoo fixed for sock knitting, and I absolutely adore it. So I decided, okay, I'm going to, at some point, give myself the gift of some additional interchangeables from ChowGoo. And now I have. Although I wasn't the one who gifted them to me, my husband was. So thank you to my dear husband, Randall, who lovingly got me my ChowGoo needles. What else? That is about it. So it has been a very busy couple of days of travel going up to Kansas City and back. It's about 2.5 hours from Wichita to Kansas City. And I love Kansas City. It is a beautiful, very liberal town, which I love. So I always feel much more politically comfortable there than in my now hometown of Wichita. So, but that being said, this is now my hometown, so I make the very best of it that I can. The cost of living cannot be beaten. And, Kansas City is only a couple hours away. Oklahoma City, which is a bit more conservative, is only about another 2.5 to 3 hours away. south. There, and Chicago is really not that far away. It's a bit more than 8 hours. It's about 12 hours up to Chicago to drive from here. So that is a bit of a haul. Denver is a bit closer, but again, probably about 8 hours to Denver. And we're talking driving. I'm not talking about flying. Flying makes, of course, everything is about an hour and a half flight time, which means about 3 hours of travel, when you consider getting to the airport, getting through security, getting on the plane, getting back off the plane, getting out of the airport. Yeah, you spend a lot of time, but much easier than driving. The train actually from here to there from here to Chicago isn't a bad trip. I've done it at least one time, and it's really quite pleasant to ride the train. Except from Wichita, you do have to get up at in the middle of the night, because the train comes through Newton, Kansas, not Wichita, but Newton, Kansas, which is about 40 miles north of here. You go up there in the middle of the night and get on the train at about 2:30 or 3 o'clock in the morning. It makes it a little bit weird, but hey, with the new infrastructure package, train service is supposed to be returning to Wichita proper, which will be really nice, because I do enjoy taking the train. And if you've never done train travel, do try it out. It is certainly a more comfortable alternative to flying. Seats are much more spacious. It's much easier to get up and walk around, and usually there's an observation car where you can watch the landscape go by. So train travel is something I really do enjoy. So yeah, it has been a busy couple days. It is good to be home, though. Again, as much as I enjoy little jaunts out, I do like my own space. But yeah. So thank you all for joining me for night 6. 2 more nights of Hanukkah to go. And I hope that this time of year, sort of as the meditation talked about, is giving you a sense of renewal, a sense of being re-energized, to spend a little bit of time with family in a safe way. Hopefully your families have been vaccinated, and that you can have this opportunity to gather again, the opportunity we didn't have last year. So I hope that you're able to do that, and that you're renewing connections and friendships as well. So with that, again, hey, like, subscribe, share, help out a little channel to grow a little bit by giving it away. And that would be truly appreciative. So thank you all for joining. May you have peace in your home and the fullness of joy for all who dwell there.